back, this is CoinPig. So today's video is going to be slightly different, as you can probably tell from what you can see. So basically, I have a story to tell. But first some background. So basically the pressure on cash, in particular coins, has been quite high recently. Banks don't like using cash because it costs a lot for them to handle cash, distribute cash and so on. And they like to be able to charge people for stuff, but it's not so easy for individuals to get charged for handling cash because it's legal tender, and most people at some point have used cash. So the same with post offices, really. I mean, post offices are a different thing, but they do handle cash, and it's quite difficult. If you've ever tried to get cash from a post office, it's quite difficult in some cases to get cash from a post office. Technology has also had a part to play. How people bank these days. People tend not to go to banks as much as they used to, apart from perhaps the cash machine, to draw out notes, but obviously you can't draw out coins. So there's other ways to pay. There's the mobile phone, of course, these days. Everybody's got a mobile phone, even the average 12-year-old has a mobile phone these days. Obviously you can still use cards, and there's even apps and things like PayPal and all sorts of third-party ways of paying people without using cash. So that all has an effect. Businesses and organisations are also coming around to the idea of not using cash. I mean, if you go into most businesses these days, if you're buying, I don't know, say a table tennis table or something, you generally don't use cash. If you're buying, a newspaper, I mean, who buys newspapers? But if you're buying a newspaper, you probably still do use cash. But these days, with these, modern methods, you can just touch and go with these payments for under £45. It's quite easy. A lot of businesses like that as well, because it doesn't mean they have to handle cash. Things like car parks. A lot of people pay electronically these days in car parks. And car parks, surprisingly, play a big part in what money we use, surprisingly. Habits are being lost as well, because obviously a lot of younger people have never used a lot of cash. They've always used their mobile phones these days. And that's becoming more and more a thing, I think, with every year that passes. And obviously on top of everything else, we've got the current global situation. I daren't mention COVID, but unfortunately that is the cause of a lot of this most recent upturning of the less cash the better, basically. Cash centres obviously distribute cash, these coins, but if they didn't have cash centres to distribute them, it'd be less cost through the whole banking system. The coins can quite easily be recycled. And also the Royal Mint and the Treasury have policies in place which, if you look at it in more detail, seems to discourage the use of coins. The Royal Mint, you say? But don't the Royal Mint make coins? Yes, they do. But there's one or two policies that seem to distract people from using coins. One that I came across recently was a policy on Garbled coins, which is the official name, I believe. And also there are other policies on coin reclamation programs. There are problems with particularly the £2 coin. A lot of the £2 coins seem to be fake these days, or not entirely genuine, shall we say. And I think they recognised that. They certainly did when it came to the £1, the old round £1 coin. The number of fake or counterfeit, should we say, coins for the old £1 sort of increased quite quickly over a very short period of time. Between November 2003 and November 2008, so over a period of about 5 years, the number of counterfeit coins went from less than 1% to almost 2.6%, according to the figures that I've seen. And the number of withdrawals of counterfeits in particular was significant. In the last year, last year I have figures, that's between 2008 and 2009, the number of counterfeit coins went up almost tenfold, from under 100,000 to almost 900,000. So, I mentioned this before, what is garbled coins? Well, you're looking at them. You've been looking at them all the time. This is the sort of thing that they mean by garbled coins. It's basically coins that have been damaged beyond recognition, or even sometimes not even beyond recognition, but just so that it can't be used. That's a 2p coin, I believe. This is an old 1p coin. There's some 10p coins here. Now some of them are worse than others. Some of them have been mangled, so you can't use those in machines, for instance. so I wouldn't recognise them. Same here with these 50p's. But what happened was, I should say, this happened fairly recently, so I'm still a bit unsure of some of the details, but I think the general gist of it is correct. These coins, I had a whole bag of 10p coins, which was given to me by a bank. I'm not going to name them or anything, but they gave me this bag of coins. This was one of them, in fact. Which you can see it's got some discoloration around it. And what happened was, I think what happened was, anyway, the coins were in a fire. And whether they were put in a fire, whether they happened to be in a fire, I don't know, but they were in a fire, and then consequently they were discoloured, and basically, apparently, according to the bank, when I tried to, or actually technically it was the post office, when I tried to pay them into my account, they said, oh, we can't take those because they're garbled coins. They only give us back the value of the metal. And I thought, oh, well, that's weird, I didn't know anything about that. Apparently this has been a policy for a long, long time. But the Royal Mint and the Treasury have had this policy where they've been reclaiming coins, 10p coins and 5p coins, for some time. In 2012, the makeup of the 10p coins in particular was changed from a copper nickel coin, so 75% copper, 25% nickel, to a nickel-plated steel coin. And consequently, that reduced the cost of that coin and the production of those coins. And they did a similar thing with the 5p. And consequently, since, I think it was 2014, I'm not quite sure of the date, but I think it's 2014, they've been recovering the metal in those coins, so recalling the older 10p and 5p coins and replacing them with the new ones. Yeah, so how does that affect you, you might say? Well, it means that, for instance, you can't pay these into, legitimately pay these into a bank account. Even though you may not have been responsible for the condition of the coin is actually only worth the metal it's produced on. So I've got 4 2p coins there, that may be okay, no, it isn't okay. But I've got 4 2p coins, they're worthless, essentially. I've got another 3 penny coins, I've got some 10p coins, 3 50p coins. Generally it's smaller value coins, 50p and below, that have this issue. But for some reason, £1 and £2 coins don't seem to be a problem. Well, £1 are fairly new coins anyway, so perhaps they wouldn't have the problem yet. But obviously we still do this with these 10p coins. Now, obviously this 10p coin is not a UK coin. This is a Guernsey coin. But it was one that I found in the bag. I actually only opened one of the bags to check to see if they were all damaged, and that was the one that I found in there. So, but most of them were damaged, so I didn't really look too much further. I thought, oh, I'll take them straight back. Of course, I didn't get them from a local bank, so I had to get the local bank to take them back. Luckily, I had all the information that I needed for them to do that, but it was a bit of a struggle. I mean, these are older coins, of course, which aren't in circulation, but these would be classed as garbled coins as well, I think. They've been damaged in some way. So that is what a garbled coin is. Now, it's a technical term that the industry uses to describe coins that are no longer worth their face value. And it's not something that I don't think most people know about. Now, in small numbers, the odd 1 or 2, they probably slip through and get removed at cash centres. That's what they're supposed to do, I believe. But because I had such a large number of these coins, they got noticed straight away. And that was something that took me back a bit, because I wasn't expecting them not to be able to take the coins back. And obviously, when you get coins that are in this state, it's very difficult even to tell whether they're genuine, which is probably part of the reason why they have this policy. But yeah, I mean, it's not helpful that the bank, in my case, gave out the coins in the first place. So, just a warning to you all, really, cash, and particularly garbled coins, is a bit of an issue. Well, it has become a bit of an issue, and if you've got any large number of these coins, beware. So, hopefully that is helpful to you. If you find any of these coins, be aware that you may not be able to get your money back on them. If you find a lot of them, it's more likely than not that you won't, as long as the banks haven't issued you with them in the first place, because I think that's a bit naughty on the bank's side if they do that, which is what happened to me in my case. So I was lucky in that respect, but it could have been a retailer, it could have been somebody else, and may not have got my money back. Okay, it was only a few quid overall, really, but you know, it's the principle of the thing. If they decide on these policies, they should let people know. And I have tried to look on the Royal Mint website for this term garbled coins and what it means exactly, because I don't know whether, you know, one of these coins is classed as garbled. I mean, there's one here, for instance. Is that garbled? I don't think that one is garbled. you can make out the details on the coin. But what's the difference between that one, I don't know, this one here, which is only slightly deformed, and something, you know, that's been damaged much more severely? This one here, for instance. It's very difficult to know without the proper information. So I just thought I'd leave it there, I suppose, now, and put your comments in the video if you like. See if you've had any issues with these sort of things in the past. I know it's becoming more and more difficult to get coins, as I mentioned, and this on top of it, you know, might push coin collectors over the top. Anyway, thanks for tuning in, thanks for watching, I'll see you next time. Don't forget, I do have a giveaway currently on the go. You can win some Shakespeare set of £2 coins. People are still going to be collecting coins for another few years at least, so there's no urgency in that respect. Hopefully you can get those by looking at my giveaway. I'll put a link below, and I'll see you next time, so take care. Thanks for watching. Dope.